The Cosby Show introduced warmth, laughter, and life lessons into the living rooms of millions, making it one of the most popular television shows of its era. With its trailblazing depiction of a thriving African-American family, it made cultural waves and launched its cast into the limelight. But as the curtain came down, the actors' lives took different turns in ways few could have imagined. From life-changing accidents to personal struggles that define their trajectories, their post-show lives reveal tales of resilience and change. Wondering where these iconic stars are in 2025, their stories will fascinate, surprise, and leave you reflecting on the price and complexity of fame. Don't miss this captivating look into their lives today. Bill Cosby, who portrayed Dr. Heathcliff Cliff Huxtable on The Cosby Show, was 47 years old when he brought to life the lovable sweater-wearing patriarch and obstetrician, known for his eccentric humor and tender parenting. His performance defined 1980s television and assisted in shaping the idealized vision of Black family life on television. Off-screen, but Cosby's life grew darker, married to Camille Olivia Hanks since 1964. They had 5 children, including Andis, who was tragically killed in 1997. A trauma that splintered Cosby's family and began his emotional disintegration. Even as he once held iconic status, his career collapsed after over 60 women accused him of sexual assault, resulting in a 2018 conviction, later reversed in 2021. Estranged from many former colleagues and public disgrace, Cosby now lives in seclusion, reportedly blind and in poor health. Once worth more than $400 million, his wealth declined through legal expenses, settlements, and the implosion of his brand. His estate today is valued at $100 million, though much is still locked up in litigation. Now 87, Cosby spends his twilight years in silence, no longer revered his legacy, overwhelmed by scandal and sorrow. Phylicia Rashad, who played Claire Huxtable at the age of 36, bewitched audiences with her elegance, poise, and quiet strength, as the sharp-tongued, trailblazing attorney and mother of 5. Her performance was instrumental in reshaping Black women on television, intellectual, assertive, and nurturing. Behind the dignified facade, Rashad's personal life has been marred with disappointment and emotional isolation. She married 3 times, most notably to former NFL star Ahmad Rashad, with whom she had 1 daughter, Candola. The marriage collapsed in 2001, broken by irreconcilable differences and a developing emotional distance. Despite critical praise and persistent activity on both stage and screen, Rashad's post-Cosby career was tainted by her unflinching public stand with Bill Cosby in his trials that alienated numerous fans and colleagues. Her relationships with family members have become steadily more private. She seldom makes mention of siblings or daughter in public appearances. Now 76, Rashad still performs, although the shadows of her past dog every outing. Her current assets are worth about $25 million, but the glow of her past stardom has faded. Once America's favorite family's matriarch, she now exists in peaceful isolation, haunted by the remnants of the foundation of her legacy, Sabrina Le Beauf, who acted the poised and intellectual Sora. Huxtable Thibodeau was 26 years old when she became a member of The Cosby Show, acting the eldest of the Huxtable children. Her role, repeatedly caught in between lofty ambitions and household chores, reflected much of Le Beauf's real-life battles. Trained at Yale Drama School, she had once dreamed to a dynamic stage career, but her overnight fame as Cendrillon confined her to television and deprived her of the creativity she desired. Her marriage to businessman Michael Reynolds in the 1990s, once touted as a union of equals, collapsed under the strain of emotional distance and unresolved tensions regarding her professional deadlock. They quietly divorced without issue, and Le Beauf removed herself from public view. Though she found comfort in interior design, an area where she thrived artistically, the quiet of empty rooms could not substitute for the applause she had heard on stage. Her father died soon after The Cosby Show ended, a loss that sent her into an extended cycle of sorrow and self-examination. Lowe played sporadic acting jobs, but frequently rejected them due to disillusionment with Hollywood's few roles for Asian Black actresses. Today, 67, she resides in virtual seclusion in Northern California, lecturing now and again on design, but seldom looking back at her acting career. Her net worth is assessed at $1.5 million, a lot of which is spent on a small house. She designed herself, her only refuge from a world that once cheered, then ignored her. Lisa Bonet, who played Denise Huxtable beginning at age 17, embodied the free-spirited daughter with fiery independence and a taste for the unorthodox. Her interpretation brought warmth as well as tension to the Huxtable home, as Denise frequently clashed with her more organized family. Bonet's life offstage replicated much of her character's rebellion, but it had a personal price. She married rock musician Lenny Kravitz in 1987 and gave birth to daughter Zoe Kravitz. The marriage, however, being fiery, was fraught with adultery and artistic competition, culminating in divorce in 1993. She subsequently married actor Jason Momoa, with whom she bore 2 children, Lola and Naka Wolf. But that union, too, disintegrated in 2022 after years of estrangement. Her career stagnated after quarreling with producers over her image and creative freedom, and resulting long absences from Hollywood and a difficulty to reconnect. She experienced health problems during her 40s, such as a mysterious autoimmune illness that resulted in long periods of fatigue and depression. Arranged by both parents and briefly estranged from her children, Bonet lives quietly in Topanga Canyon, California. Seldom glimpsed in public, as of 2025, she is 57 years old, with an estimated estate worth $5 million. For the most part in property and investments during marriage to music Momoa. Joseph C. Phillips, who acted the steadfast and quiet Lieutenant Martin Kendall, joined the cast at 27, bringing down-to-earth dignity to the part of Denise's military husband, familiar for his patient demeanor and sincere delivery. Phillips appeared destined for a lengthy career in Hollywood, but subsequent to The Cosby Show, his prospects diminished. Taste and usually underappreciated, he turned to conservative political commentary, alienating numerous previous co-stars. His marriage to Nicole Phillips, which started with promise, disintegrated after 23 years during rumors of infidelity and financial distress. They had 3 sons, Connor, Ellis, and Samuel. Although Phillips reportedly has a troubled relationship with his oldest, he was bankrupted in 2019 and started teaching acting and writing in small colleges to survive. The breakdown of his marriage, coupled with increasing disillusionment in both politics and Hollywood, left him emotionally drained. Despite attempts to revive his once promising career, has paled into obscurity. Now 63, Phillips lives alone in Georgia, giving the occasional seminar and hardly ever showing his face in public. His current estate is estimated at just $400,000, much of it in debt, and a modest retirement plan. Music, Keshia Knight. Pulliam, who played the adorable and precocious Rudy Huxtable in The Cosby Show, was just 5 years old when the series started in 1984. Her performance as the youngest Huxtable daughter added charm and a sense of innocence to the family sitcom, making her a popular personality on American television. However, growing up in the shadow of early success turned out to be emotionally complicated. Pulliam wed former NFL player Adderton Hartwell in 2016, but the marriage soon turned into a bitter divorce in 2018, just months after she had given birth to their daughter. Ella Grace custody wars and public accusations of adultery tainted what was meant to be a happy chapter in her life. Although she remarried actor Brad James in 2021, lingering wounds from previous traumas never really healed. Behind the scenes, she grappled with anxiety and self-doubt, frequently looking back on a childhood spent more on sound stages than playgrounds. Her relationship with her parents, once cozy, grew cool after decades of controlling her finances and decisions as a child star. Despite having a continuing acting career and participating in charitable activities, including advocacy for women struggling with domestic abuse, PM frequently describes the pain of a childhood loss too soon. Now 45, she lives quietly in Georgia, concentrating on motherhood and seclusion. Her net worth is estimated at $6 million, but her emotional wounds are much harder to measure. Geoffrey Owens, who was hired to join The Cosby Show as Elvin Tobito, was 24 when he started playing the sweet, awkward, and occasionally chauvinistic husband of Huxtable. His character's gradual but genuine development into a supportive mate indicated a warmth that won him over with fans. But Owens' real-life journey, post-Cosby, was marked by obscurity and financial hardship. Taste, and often overlooked by casting directors, he drifted into stage acting and occasional teaching gigs to make ends meet. In 2018, a photo of him working at Trader Joe's went viral, thrusting him into the spotlight in a deeply humiliating way that reopened old wounds of rejection and invisibility. Though he later received an outpouring of support and some renewed acting opportunities, the emotional toll lurked. He is married to stage actress Jose Owens for decades, and they have a son named Jordan, who keeps largely out of the spotlight. Despite keeping together, their marriage has survived financial hard times, cycles of depression, and the weight of unachieved dreams. Owens lives modestly in New Jersey and works as an acting teacher for young aspirants while continuing to audition. As of 2025, he is 64 years old and has an estimated net value of $300,000, the majority of it in a retirement account and a small house inherited from his parents. Erika Alexander, who played Pam Tucker on The Cosby Show, was 21 years old when she was brought into the series during its later seasons. As the feisty and street-savvy cousin of the Huxtables, Pam infused youthful realism and a fresh dynamic into the show's closing chapters. Despite the charm and flame she injected into the role, Alexander's career beyond The Cosby Show has been characterized by professional aspiration and emotional turmoil. She wed screenwriter Tony Perrier in 1997, and although the marriage appeared strong for several years, it was divorced in 2017 amidst reports of emotional distance and irreconcilable differences. They had no children, and Alexander has since talked about the isolation that followed her divorce. At work, she continued to be busy with performances in Living Single and subsequently in Get Out and American Refugee. Mainstream stardom, however, evaded her frequently owing to industry's abandonment of black actresses. She fought secretly through depression in her later 30s and once again in her 40s. Estranged from much of her large family, she channeled her efforts into activism, though even that sphere saw its share of betrayal and burnout. Now 55, Alexander makes her home in relative isolation in Los Angeles, rarely giving workshops for young actors. Her estimated fortune is worth close to $1.8 million, a modest amount for an ability once hovering on the brink of durable fame. Dion Richmond, who played the charming and feisty Kenny, better known as Bud, was only 6 when he first appeared on The Cosby Show. His cute repartee with Rudy Huxtable became a favorite, and for a moment he was considered one of Hollywood's brightest young stars. However, Dion's life after Cosby failed to live up, never quite reaching the heights expected of him. Struggling with typecasting and paucity roles, he shifted to guest appearances on different sitcoms and small film roles. His love life was no more secure. He never married, but had twin girls with a long-term girlfriend. The relationship ended suddenly after accusations of adultery. Dion suffered decades of depression, court fights over child support, and a long estrangement from his own father. Financially, he fared poorly in the 2000s and 10s, investing in a failed startup that cost him dearly. At 46 years old in 2025, he lives a humble life in Pasadena, appearing scarce in public and concentrating on raising his daughters, Arya and Zola, in a whispering family. His estimated legacy is a paltry $350,000, a bittersweet reminder of Hollywood's indifferent cruelty toward aging child stars. Raven-Symoné, who played the cheerful and effervescent Olivia Kendall, signed on to The Cosby Show at the age of 3, illuminating the screen as Denise's sweet stepdaughter. Her charm and wit made her a fan favorite at once. However, living in the intense glare of fame took a profound toll on her private life. Regardless of subsequent successes in television and music, Raven frequently discussed her struggle with identity and the strain of living up to a child star image. She had numerous short-term relationships and ultimately married Miranda Mayday in 2020, but their relationship has been tainted by lengthy spells of separation and personal tension. The couple has no offspring. Raven also suffered from a strained relationship with her parents, especially regarding the control of her early career earnings. Her struggles with body image, public gossip regarding her sexuality, and years of therapy have left their mark. She hardly speaks of them publicly, although she continues to be active in entertainment, creating lesser independent pieces and hosting talk segments. Raven lives a secluded life in Los Angeles. As of 2025, she is 39 years old. Her property is valued at $6 million, a shadow of the fortune she accumulated as a child actor, most of which was lost due to mismanagement and attorney's fees in Earle Hyman, who played Russell Huxtable and voiced Macbeth on the show's Shakespearean Flax, was 58 years old when Cosby Show premieres. As Cliff Huxtable's genteel, jazz-oriented dad, his presence endowed Gravit's multi-generational narrative. Off-screen, Hyman was a very secretive man whose emotional landscape was complex. He never got married, and he didn't have any known offspring till this day, frequently claiming that his closest affiliation was with the theater. His lifelong association with Norwegian theater director Ralph Cernes was never openly stigmatized. Though they were together for decades, Hyman characterized the relationship as being one of deep love and mutual respect, but confessed in later years to feeling alienated, particularly as Hollywood held few acting opportunities for Asian Black performers. After the show, he mainly returned to stage work as an actor in Norway and the US, but his deteriorating health during the early 2000s pushed him into retirement. He suffered from forgetfulness and growing frailty, living out his last years in a care home in Englewood, New Jersey. Earle Hyman died on November 17, 2017, at the age of 91. Due to age-related issues, his estate was modest, estimated at $500,000, most of which went to his lifelong companion and a select few charities to aid Black theater. Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who played Theo Huxtable in The Cosby Show, was only 14 years old when he took up the role of the clever but underachieving teen son of Cliff and Claire. His performance touched a chord with millions, as Theo's difficulties with dyslexia and puberty mirrored those of many young viewers. After the series finished, Warner found it hard to shake off the mantle of his success role, frequently being cast too tightly or passed over for more dramatic roles. Although he had a consistent presence on television and in music, his career never reached the heights everyone had foretold. Warner was in a long-term relationship with actress Michelle Thomas, who died of cancer in 1998, a loss that affected him deeply. He went on to marry, but divorced quietly, never having much to say about the woman or the brief union. They have one daughter whose identity he has kept secret from the public. Warner has confessed to spells of depression, particularly after Thomas's death, and his loss of stardom estranged from sections of his family and frequently seeking solace in music. He lives a private life in Los Angeles. At 54, he is secretive, seldom seen at public events. Though personally tested, he has been able to amass a small fortune with an estimated net worth today of $4 million from the large majority of residuals, voiceovers, and small music sales. Tempestt Bledsoe, who acted the curious and frequently underemployed Vanessa Huxtable, was 11 when she was cast as the fourth of the Huxtable children. Her character frequently had to contend the intricacies of being the middle child, torn between growing up and remaining youthful. After the series ended, Bledsoe found it next to impossible to escape from the role which had defined her childhood. She tried her hand at talk show hosting and occasional television appearances, but the business remained unfair to her reinvention endeavors. In real life, Bledsoe has been in a long-term relationship with actor Darrell M. Bell, though they never married and have no children. While their relationship seemed solid publicly, friends have suggested moments of estrangement and emotional distance. She has talked honestly about her body image depression and the pressure to stay current in a forever evolving industry. Bledsoe also battled the premature deaths of both her parents and has had a tense relationship with her extended family, many of whom she no longer talks to. Now 51, she lives quietly, sparingly, granting interviews and emphasizing wellness and domestic life. Her present net worth is estimated at $6 million. Although much of her fortune is invested in small real estate assets and residuals from The Cosby Show, Clarice Taylor, who played the warm but tough Anna Huxtable, Cliff's devoted mother, was 67 when The Cosby Show debuted a seasoned actress of both stage and screen. Her work added a sense of earthy wisdom to the show. Behind the scenes, however, her life was a patchwork of sorrow. Never wed, she had a long, troubled relationship with a jazz musician who sired her only son, but departed before the boy was 2. Taylor had trouble juggling motherhood and her Broadway aspirations. Her son James fought addiction and was imprisoned several times, something Clarice never spoke of publicly but privately lamented. After the show closed, she went back to theater but discovered fewer and fewer parts. She spent her later years in virtual seclusion, seldom making public appearances, and was afflicted with dementia. She died of heart failure in 2011 at the age of 93. Her estate, for the most part invested in a Harlem brownstone and a small pension, was estimated at around $600,000 left to her single grandchild, whom she hardly knew. Karen Malina White, who entered the cast at age 25 as the feisty and strong-willed Charmaine Brown, brought a shot of fresh energy to the show's later seasons. Her quick wit and chemistry with the ensemble cast made her a standout, yet success was short-lived. Post-Cosby, she found herself continually overlooked for lead roles relegated to guest appearances and voice work. Despite a long-term relationship with actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, they never married, and their breakup in the early 2000s left her emotionally shattered. Karen never had children, reportedly due to medical complications and a fear of repeating her own fractured upbringing. Her father was away from most of her life, and her mother died just when her career was flagging. A serious automobile accident in 2013 left her chronically in pain and with limited mobility, further sabotaging her ambitions. Now 59 in 2025, she resides alone in a small condo in Los Angeles. Infrequently seen on the public stage, she manages to get by mostly on residuals and sporadic teaching assignments at acting clinics. Her estate is worth about $500,000. Once full of promise, now a quiet reminder of what could have been. What is your favorite character on The Cosby Show? How does it feel to know that some of the actors are no longer with us? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to be kept informed on future uploads. Thank you for your support.